Hi guys, it's Cédric. Today we are diving into a topic that's been on my mind for months and has a lot of folks scratching their heads. Has Ethereum broken free from Bitcoin? This is a big question, and it's not just about comparing price charts. We need to dig deeper. Where is the money flowing? What changed in the narrative? And most importantly, where might this lead? In this video, I'm not just going to say yes or no. I'll break it down from a few key angles to show you how ETH and BTC are moving, why they are starting to look so different, and what this means for regular investors like us. If you find this video helpful, hit that subscribe button. If you got questions, add me on Telegram. It's in the description just below. This video is mainly for folks looking to hold ETH long term or those holding both BTC and ETH. If that's not you, feel free to skip this one, but if you are just curious about this topic, stick around. You might pick up something useful for your future investments. If not, check out my channel. I'm sure there is a video you'll love. Alright, you're still there. Let's start with the most obvious place, the data. So for that, I'll record my computer screen here and I'll share with you a tool that I like. You know I like trends. If you have seen a few of my videos, I love analyzing trends. And for that, you have longtermtrends.net. So here you have the Ether to Bitcoin ratio. I talk about that a lot on my channel too. But let's start with this one, Ether versus Bitcoin. Because you've probably noticed how we used to say, Bitcoin and Ethereum moved hand in hand. Bitcoin jumps 20% and a day after, or a few days after, or maybe 2 weeks after, Ethereum catches up. I mean, their gains were almost identical, or at least the direction was almost identical. Back then, the strategy was very simple. Let's see, like here, this one is crazy. When Bitcoin pumped, you'd switch to ETH because it would follow fast. So here we have like three weeks after that. And you have this chart here too, and it spells it out really clearly. The correlation between Bitcoin and Ethereum is really an easy chart. If the number is close to 1, it means that the price and the trends move in lockstep. And if it's close to like -1, it shows that they are starting to split. And you can see here that their correlation is pretty tight. From 2020 to 2021, their correlation was above 0.9 during the whole bull market. Basically, their price curves that you have here too. Let's go back to 2020 and after, you can see, yeah, it's crazy here. It continued after the bull run. Their price curves were like twins, rising and falling together. But check out late 2024, we will stay on this one for the moment, late 2024 into 2025. Things are shifting. The curves are pulling apart. For example, Bitcoin might climb like 25% in a month, but Ethereum only budges 10%. Sometimes ETH is just sitting here or even dipping slightly. This out-of-sync behavior shows a structural change in how their prices are acting. You can see that in the correlation chart, the number that was like near 1 in 1 year is now hovering near 0. Not quite -1 for a full split, but it's the closest to historic lows since 2017. Yes, it's showing today a serious divergence. And if you look back to 2017, they had a clear split too. Why? Why did the correlation drop below 0 here? That was the ICO craze. Almost every new project launched on Ethereum, raising funds with ETH, not BTC. This made ETH the place money was flowing to. It wasn't just following Bitcoin's lead anymore. It had its own bull market rhythm. That year, people realized something very important. Ethereum is not just the second biggest crypto. It's not just Bitcoin's little brother. It's its own main character. It has its own narrative. And we saw that Bitcoin has its narrative, really special narrative too in 2022. What happened when the correlation dipped again here? It was for different reasons. It was like the Russia-Ukraine war that kicked off and global markets turned risk off. People started buying gold and Bitcoin. Yes, Bitcoin held up better. People saw it as digital gold. Bitcoin fell too, but Ethereum, it was more volatile because it's tied to tech and innovation narratives. So the market priced it as riskier. Their rhythms started to diverge. Not because one was better, but because the market was treating them differently. So now let's check the Bitcoin to Ether ratio. You can see here something very interesting. Since its 2022 peak here, this ratio has been quietly trending down for almost 2 years. It's not a sudden crash, but a slow, steady decline, like boiling a frog. Even when the market's up and it rises, it can't keep up with Bitcoin. When the market drops, they both fall. So are they fully detached now? Not quite. Still tightly bound? Not really either. So is this just a short-term market vibe shift? Or are they truly heading toward different destinies? Bonne question. The sun is setting. I have to go to the warehouse, check the food for the chicken because they are eating too fast. There is like no correlation between the speed at which they are eating compared to the alpacas or the kune pigs. So let's check that and continue our discussion. All right, let's go. And let's have a look at the chickens too now. How is everyone doing? Everyone looks very happy. Let's go, let's go. All right, where are we at? Okay, I made a mistake. We need food for the pigs. So, let's talk about the decoupling of BTC and ETH and analyze that. First, why was it correlated in the first place? Their tight link in the past had historical roots. Early on, the crypto market was tiny and people didn't know how to value ETH, so they just pegged it to BTC. But now we are in a different era. Bitcoin's gone institutional. ETFs hedging against treasury yields and a safe haven status. Big money flowing into Bitcoin is now a line item in asset allocation models. Meanwhile, ETH Black Swan events keep popping up. As a smart contract platform, ETH's value hinges on narratives, user numbers, active developers, DeFi, and NFTs. Just this reality means their money flows are out of sync. Second, ETH's narrative is evolving. It used to be the source of everything. People used Uniswap, RVE, all on the mainnet. High fees didn't matter because the money looped back to ETH. Now, layer 2s like Arbitrum, Optimism, Base, and Blast have exploded, handling most user activity. The mainnet is just a settlement layer now, and ETH's token is capturing less value. Today, you can use Uniswap without touching the mainnet, paying gas to layer 2s instead. ETH, the token, is getting sidelined in its own ecosystem. Third, everyone told us about the ETH deflationary story. But it isn't the win it used to be. When EIP 1559 launched, everyone was hyped. ETH was turning deflationary. Yeah, that's great, yes. Every transaction burns coins. ETH is going to the moon, It will explode. But now people have cooled off. What really drives ETH's price isn't how many coins get burned. It's whether there is steady buying pressure. No new users, no new money coming in. Deflation just slows the drop. It doesn't spark a rally. And then fourth, and this one is less talked about, ETH holder base is more fragmented and community-driven. Unlike Bitcoin, which is tightly held by big institutions or corporate treasuries, ETH's owners are more diverse and sensitive to liquidity cycles. So when Bitcoin rises, ETH might not follow right away. For ETH to rally, it needs a new hotspot in its ecosystem to light up a new narrative, something new like the NFTs, the ICOs. Otherwise, there's nothing. So, or it will not be the same cycle, it will be slow. So does this mean ETH is doomed if it decouples from BTC? Not at all. I think ETH is going through a role definition, like Apple versus Tesla. One is a consumer tech giant, the other is a renewable energy leader. Their valuation models, capital flows, and life cycles are totally different. You can't compare them directly anymore. Ethereum is the same. Its challenge now is finding its own independent value consensus, not just riding Bitcoin's coattails. And I think that process is already underway. You can check these signals from this year. First, Ethereum nailed the Spectra upgrade, making the user experience way smoother, and it's very positive for the long term. Then layer 2s too they are scaling like crazy, with fees dropping fast, perfect for mass adoption. And then you start to have a lot of ETH native narratives. They are heating up again. Things like account abstraction, Hagen layers restacking mechanism, and restacking as a service, those models. These are super technical and have a high learning curve, but they are also sticky long term. And this is ETH's real core value. So it may take some time, but as I said in my Spectra update video, long term is good for ETH, and we don't need the correlation to Bitcoin anymore. ETH has its own story. So yeah, the big question now is, will the market still pay a premium for ETH's core value? I don't think so. It's kind of a philosophical debate, especially in a narrative-driven market. Bitcoin's story is simple, decentralized, anti-inflation, digital gold, consensus assets. Every crisis, every institutional buy-in makes that story stronger. But what about ETH's story? You need to get layer 2s, rollups, stacking, MEV. It's advanced, but also more fragmented. We don't have like a big ETH narrative. You know, the folks who take the time to understand ETH's ecosystem, they are getting super specialized. Meanwhile, regular retail investors see Bitcoin headline. They just hop on an exchange and buy. In this market, ETH and BTC's futures aren't about who is better and who is tied to who. They are being given totally different role structures and investor expectations. They are not fully decoupled yet, but the path ahead is clear. For me, that's my take. What's your take on that? I hope this helps you see the relationship between BTC and ETH and where they are headed. What do you think? Yes, drop your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, comment and share. If you think I did all right, subscribe, turn on the notification bell or add me on Telegram and let's discuss. Link is in the description. Merci et au revoir.